What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another video. I know I haven't done one of these in a minute, but today I'm coming back at you with an album review. I've been working with an artist for a couple months now named Supreme Swiss. He's located in Toronto, Canada. He hit me up and was like, yo, you want to collab on this? I was like, yo, I love your music. You seem like a dope person. Let's work together. So we've been working together for a couple months now, like I said, since September, around there. His project is finally out. He dropped it at the end of December, called MRSHL CITY EP, featuring Henny Hendrx on the production. And I really like this album because one of my criteria is that I really want to like the music. I don't want to just review any album, review any EP, review any song or any genre if I don't like the music. And so this is the album review for MRSHL CITY EP. Let's get to it. The first song that we're gonna cover is obviously the first track, and it is his single, the lead single that led into the album and what he posted before he released the project, and it is Twisted. Twisted to me is a great way to start the project because it's a song that everybody knows. Everybody's already familiar with it, so if you start the album off with that, people are used to that song already, so then they're like, all right, cool, let's get into this album. He's playing Twisted, which I like already. I've heard for a couple months, and I just want to hear what he has next to say. And also, this song does set the mood for the rest of the album. It's a little bit of a darker tone, and there is variation in the album, but it does stick with this tone and this style more often during the album than not. One of the other things that I do also appreciate about this song and the rest of the album is that it shows the production of the album. And so when you're listening to artists who are either just starting or have a couple projects under their belt, such as Supreme Swiss, the production is something that can vary, where if you're working with different producers, where it could be great on one project and on another project not sound too good. Henny Hendrx really shows that he is a great producer because the beat isn't too high where you can't hear the artist, or the beat isn't too low and the artist is too high, overpowering the music that's coming out. So I think that it's a perfect blend where he has it, where you could hear the beat very clearly and you can still hear Supreme Swiss very clearly. You could hear him rapping, so you could hear you could hear the duo really showcase their skill and not overshadow or overpower one another. And I think that for this song to be the lead single, to have great production, and to have great lyrics and great rapping ability is definitely a banger.
No loose talk, I get the guap. I do not cuff, bitch, I'm no cop. Move to the side, or give me top, yeah. Bet if I sign, be hard to decide.
The next song that we go on to is my favorite song on the whole project, and it is No Loose Talk. I just like the way it's a bop, my G, like no loose talk. I get the guap. And if you have seen Supreme Swiss, if you have not, go on his IG and check out his stories and all that stuff, and also check out his TikTok because he does have a challenge to that. And even the challenge, he has a whole dance for it. I was like, this man is really about his business, and he knows how to utilize his social media and everything like that. So it's one thing to be great at music, it's another thing to also be business savvy and know exactly how to market your music to the masses. One of the things that I love is that this song does showcase his ability to stay in the pocket as well. That ability to stay in the pocket is one of his strengths, and we're gonna see that throughout the rest of the project, and we're only on track 2. And also the enunciation as well. I know we're in the age of mumble rap, and that's cool if you like that. I like it too sometimes, but to be able to have a song such as No Loose Talk, which to me could be played in the club, but also be able to hear the words and hear the lyrics clearly, is also a good sign of a person who really cares about his craft and what he actually does say in his song. So No Loose Talk, that's definitely my favorite track on this album.
Love it when you counting up them 20s and them 50s and the 100s for the budget. Yeah, you do it, ain't no discussion, yeah.
We move over to the third track, which is 20s, 50s, and 100s. This again is another track that I really do like, and it's almost completely different from the first two, where it's not as dark and everything. And before I get into the actual review of the track, I'm gonna talk about the ending of No Loose Talk, where it just boom abruptly ends, and that little bit of silence gives time for this track to start. And the ending of track 3 leaves room for like an airy type of feeling before boom, we get into this song, which does, like I said before, sound a little bit different. It's not as dark and gloomy as the other one. It's a little bit, it's not upbeat, but it's a little bit more uplifting of a song. And this is where I really saw the production value. So it shows people that you are good at this skill in rapping, and you could rap this way very, very well, and you can produce this way very, very well. But the artist and the producer duo are able to show what they can do differently and to give people a variety of music, you know, because this was actually my girl's favorite track on the album. When I played this, she was like, this is what I want to hear from this artist. And that allows you to have longevity when you're in the game, and when you're able to go for so long, and you're able to cater to a lot of different people and a wider audience. That'll have you in the game for longer than, you know, than others are able to do. So that's why I appreciate 20s, 50s, and 100s for taking a turn and being a dope track in its own right. One thing before we move on to the next track is that I do want to say that 20s, 50s, and 100s, in my opinion, does sound a little bit like songs from the Open Shop project. And I think that's dope because it could entice you to go listen back to some of his old work and previous projects and see exactly how it sounded back then, and then compare it to now and see the growth. Because one of the things that I do appreciate in watching artists develop is obviously their growth and seeing how they change their sound, what they do differently, what the producer does differently, and how they elevate and get better over time. That's one of my favorite things to watch when I'm looking at new artists, and Supreme Swiss and Henny Hendrx are definitely showing that.
Out the book bag, she gon' count it. I ain't gotta ask her. It's a habit, we be counting.
The next song that we have is Turks and Caicos. Now this one is again different from the first two tracks and kind of the tone of the album that I spoke about at the beginning of this review. And so Turks and Caicos starts off with an acoustic guitar, which gives you like an island vibe, which goes with the title Turks and Caicos. See, I see what he did there. See you, Henny Hendrx. But the thing that caught my attention was that the lyrics and the beat is like two separate things in a good way. But it kind of caught me off guard the first time I heard it, because it's melodic as hell. The track is melodic, you know, out the book bag. Like if you hear it, it's very, very melodic. But the lyrics are kind of dark, you know, where he's still trapping, he's still hustling, even though he's in Turks and Caicos, even though he's with his girl, with a shorty chilling, like he's still trapping out there in Turks and Caicos. I was like, all right, my man is really, really about his business. And so this one again shows a different range of production, and I'm a huge fan of acoustic instruments and just instruments in general in music, where saxophones, which are very underrated, piano and all that stuff, which is very heavily used in hip hop. But in this day and age of a lot of trap, a lot of bass heavy music, it's very hard to hear tracks like this and real instruments in the songs. The last thing I did want to point out is that Supreme Swiss does switch his flow up a couple times on this track, and it does show that he's able to adapt to different beats, different arrangements of sounds and drum patterns and all that stuff. So again, it shows growth in his artistry, and it shows that he's paying attention to detail on the album itself. With switching up his flow, Supreme Swiss is able to give us a variety of sounds, and he's able to rap over multiple types of beats, and again shows versatility.
Don't make me come alive. 4-5, I'm Sub-Zero with the eyes. At night, they asking for the prize.
With track number 5, Alive. See, I feel like he did that on purpose. Wordplay, rhyming scheme, whatever. Anyways, we're going into this track and we're continuing with the patterns that we've seen in the rest of the album. The first pattern that we're continuing with is the tone, and like I said before, it was the two songs in the middle, the third and fourth track, that we see a little bit of a brighter tone than the rest of the album. But we also continue with multiple flows. Again, Supreme Swiss is back, showing you that he could change up his flows again just on simpler beats. And this beat is the slowest beat on the album as well. This track in particular does have a more moody feel to it. It's definitely more relaxed, and it's more of a song that you could vibe to and chill and smoke to if you want, if that's your thing as well. Another thing that I wanted to highlight about this song is that Supreme does play with the melody a little bit, which in this day and age could throw some people off who aren't used to this. But the part where he goes, you niggas don't want that shit, like, to me, I really appreciated that because it's different. Like, it definitely, at first when I heard it, I was like, I did like a double take where I had to look back and replay and listen to that part again. But to me, I think that it's a little bit more intuitive because it's different than what other people are doing, and not many rappers can pull that off. We've heard Lil Durk and Laugh Now Cry Later and everybody talking about it on the internet, but it became something that is now popular and everybody raps along with it or sings along with it or harmonizes along with it, whichever word you want to use. And this is something that could be used to that effect as well. I appreciate him being able to do that and to implement something new or something that he hasn't tried before into his songs and in his projects.
Ain't the thing to me, ain't what they claim to be, and we ain't gone outside, without that thing on me.
And that brings us to the last track, which is Energy. It's spelled differently. It's spelled E-N-R-G. So if you're searching it, do not spell it E-N-E-R-G, whatever. I'm not going to spell it for you. Anyways, but that's besides the point. And this last track shows why sequencing is so important in projects. Placing a track in the wrong part of an album can throw the whole thing off completely. And I think that they did a good job, both Henny Hendrx and Supreme Swiss, of sequencing this album, because this song to me, it sounds like the end of a movie, kind of like. This is the bouncy, this is the upbeat track where you're at the end, you got that energy, you got that energy. Like, it's very, very it's almost like a victory song to me. Like, you completed the album, you did your thing, and this is the end of the road, and this is how the album is gonna end off. So again, one more time for all those out there, sequencing is important as an artist, as a producer, as an A&R, whatever your position is in the music industry. Sequencing, make sure you got that right. Real quick, just to add, Supreme Swiss also did make me more aware of his ad-libs in the last song, and it adds depth to the song itself. So these are just a couple key things that you guys should add to your projects if you want to make it dope as well. But that was it, guys. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you to Supreme Swiss and his team for collaborating with me. I've enjoyed the process so far. The article is out right now. Please go check that out on medium.com. Hit Supreme Swiss up, Supreme Swiss on IG. Hit his creative director, ZEENA Z, and Henny Hendrx as well. Hit the whole team up and show love to them, show love to MRSHL City as well. And find me on Instagram as well at lifeofdrew96. You could find this in link in bio. I'll have the article up there on Medium. I'll have a link to my YouTube. And if you're on my YouTube, or if you're on YouTube already, go search I Am Drew TV, find it there. Then in the description, you can find a link to Supreme Swiss. You can find a link to my IG. You can find a link to the article as well in the description below. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that. And thank you again to Supreme Swiss and his team. And we out. I'll see you next time. Peace.